The room is dead silent. Your boss is furious. Or maybe it is a solemn funeral. You feel terrible. You want to disappear. But your facial muscles betray you. The corners of your mouth twitch. They pull upwards. You are smiling. A wide, inappropriate smile. Panic sets in. Your stomach drops. Your palms sweat. You try to force your face down. It does not work. You look like a psychopath. You look completely insane. People are staring directly at you. The heavy silence suffocates. You want the ground to swallow you whole right now. You ask yourself why you are so broken inside. You label yourself a terrible human being. You think you lack basic empathy. You think you have a twisted personality. You believe your brain is fundamentally flawed. Stop. You are completely wrong. This is not a personality defect. This is not a length of respect. And you are definitely not crazy. What you are experiencing is a violent biological override. Your body is hijacked. Your nervous system is currently screaming in absolute terror. You think this awkward smile is ruining your reputation? Science calls it a masterful survival strategy. To understand this invisible nightmare, we have to look deep under your skin. Your brain is not trying to humiliate you. It is desperately trying to save your life. The human brain is an incredibly fragile machine. It can only process a specific amount of emotional distress before the delicate circuits begin to fry. When you are standing there, absorbing intense anger or profound grief, your amygdala acts exactly like a broken fire alarm. It detects a catastrophic threat. Cortisol floods your bloodstream. Adrenaline spikes instantly. Your heart hammers against your ribs. Your cognitive bandwidth reaches absolute maximum capacity. If this immense invisible pressure continues, your neural pathways will suffer catastrophic biological damage. Your brain desperately needs an immediate pressure release valve. It needs to cool down the entire nervous system before it literally burns to ashes. So, it triggers the exact opposite physical response. It forces a smile. It forces a sudden nervous laugh. This bizarre physical contradiction rapidly releases endorphins. It is a desperate biological coolant. It forces your rapid heart rate to drop. It tricks your own nervous system into backing away from the dangerous cliff of a total mental breakdown. Society calls you wildly inappropriate. Evolution calls you a brilliant survivor. But this clunky defense mechanism is just the surface. What your brain is actually calculating behind this awkward smile is far more astonishing. You ask why you laugh when your boss yells. You think it is because you are disrespectful. No. You think you lack empathy for the grieving family. Absolutely not. You believe you are a secretly malicious person. Completely false. Welcome to the brutal reality of your neurobiology. This is the exact moment every self-help book on emotional intelligence has completely lied to you. They tell you to control your facial expressions, to take a deep breath, and to maintain solemn eye contact. But forcing your face into a perfectly smooth mask of respect while your internal alarms are blaring is neurological suicide. In 1998, neuroscientist Vilayanur S. Ramachandran at the University of California, San Diego proposed the false alarm theory of laughter. He discovered that laughter is a primal evolutionary signal originally used to indicate that a perceived deadly threat is actually completely harmless. But your modern brain has violently weaponized this ancient mechanism for a very different purpose. When you are trapped in a terrifying social confrontation, your amygdala absorbs a lethal dose of psychological threat. It immediately sends a frantic distress signal to the hypothalamus. Your sympathetic nervous system floods your veins with cortisol and prepares your muscles for a brutal physical fight. But there is no actual physical predator for you to punch. There is no wild beast to run away from. There is only your angry boss, or a tragic coffin, or a room full of disappointed people. You are physically paralyzed by modern social norms. You are trapped in an invisible cage. This is where the biological miracle happens. Your brain realizes you cannot fight and you cannot run. The mounting cognitive overload threatens to permanently damage your anterior cingulate cortex. So, your central nervous system initiates a radical system override. It violently activates your parasympathetic nervous system, specifically utilizing the wandering vagus nerve to forcefully slam the heavy brakes on your skyrocketing heart rate. And the fastest, most primitive, and most highly efficient way the human body knows how to instantly discharge massive amounts of psychological tension is through the physical motor pattern of laughter. Your brain literally hijacks your facial muscles without your permission. It bypasses your conscious control and forces your zygomaticus major muscles to pull your lips upward. It forces a sudden, rhythmic exhalation of air directly from your lungs. This is not an expression of joy. It is a biological exhaust valve, rapidly venting toxic levels of stress hormones. It is a mechanical reflex, absolutely inevitable, designed to forcefully cool down a frying neural motherboard. Every time you try to suppress that awkward smile, you are fighting a losing battle against a 3 million-year-old survival algorithm. You are a fragile biological organism trying to manually override an automatic catastrophic meltdown protocol. Your highly inappropriate smirk is actually a desperate internal distress beacon. It is the visible evidence of your body desperately trying to comfort itself in a moment of unbearable psychological agony. Your nervous system is keeping you alive. But why exactly a smile? Why does a brain capable of solving complex physics equations suddenly force you to grin like a fool when you are terrified? To understand this bizarre contradiction, we must abandon the modern world. We must violently strip away your comfortable office cubicle. We must erase the polite social etiquette of the 21st century. We need to travel back exactly 300,000 years. The answer lies buried deep within the brutal wilderness of the Pleistocene epoch. In that ancient world, making a social mistake did not mean losing your job. Making a social mistake meant you were immediately exiled from the warmth of the fire and thrown to the wolves. Your ancestors lived in a terrifying state of constant hypervigilance. They navigated a ruthless hierarchy ruled by violent alpha leaders and deadly predators. In this unforgiving ecosystem, every subtle facial expression was a literal matter of life or death. Imagine standing before a furious, physically dominant tribal leader. If you show raw fear, you instantly trigger their predatory prey drive. If you show defensive anger, you provoke a brutal physical fight that you will inevitably lose. You are completely cornered. You are the fragile gazelle drinking at the watering hole while starving lions watch from the tall grass. Your prefrontal cortex is temporarily paralyzed. Your conscious mind has completely failed. This is the exact millisecond your traumatized internal bodyguard violently takes over. Your amygdala initiates an extreme biological defense protocol scientifically known as the fear grin. Primatologists have meticulously observed this exact same physical phenomenon in our closest genetic relatives. When a subordinate chimpanzee is cornered by a highly aggressive alpha male, they do not cry. They do not run away. They pull their lips back. They bare their teeth in a wide, exaggerated smile. This is not an expression of primate joy. It is a desperate, highly calculated signal of absolute biological submission. It is the primate equivalent of a cornered wolf rolling over and exposing its vulnerable belly to a superior attacker. That bared teeth grin transmits a powerful, invisible neurological message. It screams that you are completely harmless. It begs the predator for mercy. It rapidly de-escalates the rising tension before actual blood is spilled. Your highly awkward smile today is that exact same ancient survival algorithm executing flawlessly in a completely mismatched modern environment. Your nervous system does not see a disappointed manager in a boardroom. It sees a dominant alpha preparing to tear your throat out. Your nervous system does not understand the quiet solemnity of a modern funeral. It only senses a terrifying wave of collective emotional instability that feels exactly like a fatal tribal crisis. Your biological hardware is desperately trying to appease the perceived existential threat. The invisible antagonist here is not your imaginary lack of empathy. The invisible antagonist is the severe evolutionary mismatch between your primitive hardware and your modern reality. You are forcing a 3 million-year-old survival machine to navigate the artificial rules of corporate professionalism. When the psychological tension peaks, the rational CEO of your brain is forcefully locked out of the control room. Your survival instincts deliberately short-circuit the entire system. They wipe your polite social graces completely clean. They flood your cranial nerves with urgent commands to perform the ancient ritual of primitive appeasement. You think you are being wildly inappropriate. You are actually witnessing a terrifying masterpiece of human preservation. Your body is consciously sacrificing your short-term social dignity to guarantee your long-term physical survival. It coldly calculates that looking like an absolute idiot is a very small price to pay for not being slaughtered. Every single time your lips twitch upward in a moment of pure dread, you are wearing the exact same biological armor that kept your ancestors alive through brutal ice ages. It is an undeniable evolutionary timestamp echoing through your facial nerves. You cannot logically program this primal instinct away. Your nervous system is blindly loyal. It will gladly sabotage your fragile reputation 1,000 times if it believes it is saving your physical life just once. You live in an era that demands absolute emotional perfection every single second of your waking life. Modern society forces you to constantly maintain perfectly calibrated eye contact, display the exact appropriate level of empathy, nod at the correct conversational intervals, and seamlessly suppress every negative internal reaction without a single noticeable flaw. You are relentlessly expected to perform the exhausting role of a flawless, fully optimized human machine regardless of the catastrophic psychological chaos secretly boiling inside your skull. Navigating this toxic modern ecosystem is exactly like forcing your fragile nervous system to wear a crushing 100-pound lead spacesuit just to survive a standard morning office meeting or a tense family gathering. You spend astronomical amounts of metabolic energy calculating every microscopic facial twitch to ensure you never make anyone else feel slightly uncomfortable. The invisible mental load you carry every day is staggering. Your anterior cingulate cortex is actively burning thousands of calories, trying to suppress your primal fear, while simultaneously decoding the complex micro-expressions of everyone standing in the room. You push your 3 million-year-old biological hardware to the absolute breaking point to maintain this fragile, exhausting illusion of social normalcy. And then the invisible pressure becomes completely unbearable. The circuit breaks. The system crashes. You smile. You experience total social death. Later that night, you lie awake staring at a pitch-black ceiling. You violently tear yourself apart over that single inappropriate grin. You are absolutely convinced that everyone in that room will forever remember the exact millisecond you looked like a terrifying psychopath. You truly believe your reputation is permanently ruined. Here is the brutal, liberating scientific truth. They do not remember. The human working memory is neurologically incapable of retaining that level of irrelevant background data for more than 30 seconds. Unless your awkward smile posed a direct, lethal physical threat to their immediate survival, their brains automatically purged that memory file to make room for their own exhausting daily anxieties. They do not care about your momentary social glitch. They are completely consumed by the suffocating weight of their own heavy spacesuits. You are merely a blurry background character in their intense psychological simulations. You are completely invisible, and you are entirely safe. That humiliating moment of disconnection was not a failure of your character. It was a brilliant, highly calculated act of biological self-preservation. When the sensory overload reached a lethal threshold, your brain deliberately dropped the heavy steel blast doors to sever the artificial social connection. It willingly sacrificed your polite exterior to prevent your internal motherboard from catching fire. The profound awkwardness you felt was simply the necessary friction of your nervous system violently pulling you back from the edge of the abyss. Your body actively refused to let you perform a fake emotion at the cost of your sanity. You cannot reprogram an ancient biological alarm system. You cannot rewrite 3 million years of brutal human evolution. Your nervous system will always prioritize your immediate survival. It will always choose a forced smile over a complete mental collapse. The next time your lips pull upward in a moment of pure terror, do not panic. Do not curse your own reflection in the mirror. Do not label yourself a broken or defective human being. Take a slow and deliberate breath. Acknowledge the intense, invisible war happening inside your fragile skull. That awkward grin is not a symptom of your social incompetence. It is the physical evidence of your body fiercely protecting your sanity. Your vagus nerve is desperately pulling you back from the abyss. Your brain deliberately absorbed the crushing weight of that entire room. It sacrificed your polite exterior to keep your internal architecture completely intact. The ultimate tragedy of modern life is how we punish our biology. We ruthlessly attack the exact mechanisms designed to keep us perfectly safe. You have spent years hating the most fiercely loyal part of your mind. You have treated your ultimate biological protector like a malicious internal enemy. It is finally time to end this violent and exhausting internal war. You have the absolute power to stop the relentless self-abuse right now. You cannot control the sudden systemic spike of toxic cortisol. You cannot control the mechanical twitch of your stressed facial muscles. But you have complete authority over the story you tell yourself afterward. You can choose to understand the staggering complexity of your own physical form. You can choose to look at your awkwardness with profound and quiet reverence. Every highly inappropriate smile is a silent testament to human endurance. It is a brilliant biological shield deployed in a moment of absolute vulnerability. Your mind was pushed to the extreme edge of its cognitive capacity, and your physical body stepped in to carry the heavy psychological burden. Modern social pressure finally met the primal brilliance of your human anatomy. All of this evolutionary chaos condenses into a single quiet moment of survival. You walk away from the overwhelming disaster. You find a quiet and completely safe space. You let the artificial smile slowly fade away in the healing silence. You finally allow your racing heart rate to find a normal, calming rhythm. You survived the invisible and terrifying crisis. Your physical form did exactly what it was, beautifully designed to do. It shielded you from the unbearable weight of the demanding world. This physical body never betrayed you. It is standing guard for you. Please forgive it.